amazing people. Trust by Iyanla, Vazant. I'm back. Mastering the 4 essential trust. Trust in self, trust in God, trust in others, trust in life. I opened it up right to this. Seasons. Understanding God's nature. Understanding and trusting God must begin with knowing the nature of God and how God's life essence flows in you, through you, and on your behalf. A teacher once told me that if I wanted to know anything about God, all I needed to do was to observe nature. I began with the basics. Day brings light, night brings darkness. It ain't personal, it just is. We don't question why or how day and night happen. We simply accept that it is going to happen. We get to do more in the light than we do in the darkness. I happen to appreciate the light of day more than the darkness of night. However, equally important activities go on at night as go on during the daylight hours. You can do that during the daytime too. Life is the same way. There are times when everything in our lives feels bright and sunny. Then there are those times when it seems we are surrounded by and covered in darkness. Again, it ain't personal. It's a part of the process and flow. It is the law. God moves, flows, and is present in the darkness and in the light. It is when it's the most darkest that God is engulfing you. And if you were to be still, to breathe, and to just trust, you will get out of that darkness. It may not be in 24 hours. The Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. The night doesn't mean 24 hours. It's the night of that experience. But you will have joy if you just keep pressing forward. You will have joy, especially when you accept these 4 words. It is what it is. 5 words. It is what it is. Period. When you accept that, when you decide that it is what it is, it ain't personal, and I just have to allow this experience to grow me. Man, my God, I'm telling you, I'm a living witness. Let the situation grow you. Go through the darkness. Don't sit there and live 5 years in the past. You did this to me. You stole the best years of my life. Really? Those were the best years of your life? No, they wasn't. The best years of your life is any moment you're in. That's the best. Nobody stole the best years of your life because you were 25 and now you're 56, or 28 and now you're 38, whatever. Wherever you are is where you are. That's the best time. 25 is not better than 38. It's just 25 and one is 38, period. If you say, well, my body looked better, that's because you allowing your body not to look so good now. Change that. Then there are the seasons. Each season supports a purpose that advances life. When the world functioned primarily as an agricultural community, it was easy to recognize and embrace the primary purpose of each season. Now that the world is largely technologically driven, the seasons are more distinguishable by weather trends than by natural purposes and flow. This does not change the law. It just makes it more difficult to discern. In the fall season, things that were once alive and blossoming change color, wither, and die. Fall signifies cooler temperatures, changes in form, and longer periods of darkness. It is a necessary process for the clearing, cleansing, and evolution of all life forms. The lyrics of the song, "Everything Must Change," is an appropriate affirmation about what happens to life and in life during the fall season. Yet when it comes to living out our personal experiences, we do not appreciate the value of change or death because we have not been taught to equate the laws of nature with the events of our lives. In fact, most of us hate change. We find change very uncomfortable, and when change is not to our liking, when it makes us uncomfortable, we look for something or someone to blame for it. It's back to that, you took the best years of my life. No, they did not. First of all, you willingly handed them over to somebody to manage instead of managing your own shit. That's the first thing you did. You decided that somebody else should make choices for you. Like if you're with somebody and they're an alcoholic, or they're a drug addict, or they're a habitual cheater, or a gambler, whatever it is they're doing. If you stayed, I'm not saying you should have left, but if you stayed, you cannot say they took something. You handed it to them. You stayed. They told you who they were. They showed you what they was going to do. And you said, it's okay. And your ego said, I'm going to change them. Your ego said, watch me do it. Nobody has ever done it before, but I'm going to prove that you can change people by just doing what you need to do for them, and they're going to change. And then when the ego, like every other ego, realize that shit don't work, your ego said, oh, well, let's try this then. Let's be angry. Let's be mad. Let's blame them. No, stop blaming people. Take responsibility for yourself, for the situation, and do what you need to do. The seasons, fall, winter, spring, and summer, represent different things. And so in winter time, things look dead. The trees don't have no leaves on them. It's all cold out. It's dark by 4 o'clock. And that's a time that's kind of dreary. We get seasonal depression, some people do. And we're just cold all the time. You have that season in your life. It doesn't mean it's in January, though. You can have your winter season right in June. You can be going through a difficult time, a death time right in June. The seasons don't have to coincide with the seasons of the world, and don't have to coincide with the seasons and your emotions and your situations. It can be right in December. You can be living it up. I mean, having yourself a champagne life. And in December, you could just be so happy and joyous. And then spring come around where the leaves are coming back on the trees, and you sitting in the corner turning the light on and off because your man done left, your dog done died, and you don't know what to do with yourself. You lost your job. You lost this. And you're in the darkness of your life, and outside is fresh and blossoming. The best thing for you to do when that happens, I got to fix the nose ring. The best thing for you to do, if that is happening to you in the spring, is to go outside and enjoy the spring, knowing that your situation will change. God is present in all aspects of change as the very essence and natural flow of all life. In the same way we trust and embrace that those things that die off and fall will be replaced in a new season, we must learn to trust that the people and things that leave our lives will be replaced by something fresh and new. I'm not talking about somebody passing on and transitioning. That's not what we're talking about. We tend to do this thing where somebody's talking about one thing and we go all the way over just to prove them wrong. If somebody died, you can't replace them. We're not talking about that. We're talking about leaving your life because they maybe don't want to be there no more. Or something goes awry and you leave them. But that will be replaced. We're talking about that. Stay on task. The challenge we face is believing that those replacements will show up by a specific date on the calendar. Unfortunately, when it comes to human life and evolution, it just doesn't work like that. Remember, it ain't personal, it's the law. Remember those 4 agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make any assumptions. Do your best at everything. It ain't never personal. Be impeccable with your word. Your word is not somebody else's word. And you know it's egotistical when we say, well, I just expect everybody to show up like I show up. Really? Because you're so perfect and amazing and you just show up. And you might. But if you really were that perfect and amazing and showed up, you would recognize that's you and you do it for you, not for somebody else to do it back. Now, it's not reciprocal. It's because you show up for you. It's because your character, your devotion to love and to joy and to peace and happiness is on level 500. Theirs may be at -2. But you don't let them determine you. Nor do you haughty yourself as so much better than someone else. Nah, it just is what it is. Where was I at? I have come to equate winter with the time of life when I must slow down, rest, and get prepared for the spring. Things move slower in the winter season. Darkness lasts longer. We must cover and protect our physical selves more in the winter. Winter in some places is more severe than it is in others. The physical forces that confront us during this season can be life-threatening. And still, we accept this season as a part of life. Like people who live in Chicago. I have a really, really close friend who lives in Chicago. She's from Chicago. So Chi-Town is home. Chi-Town is so cold. I went one time in February when I was in the Nation of Islam. It would be Savior's Day and I would go. And one time it was so cold, I felt like somebody was cutting my face with little razor blades. And so I asked somebody, I said, why does my face feel like this? They said, oh, the water's coming off Lake Erie and it's like little ice shards on your face. Now they were covered up. I came there trying to be cute and almost left in a coffin because you can't be cute in Chicago like that. You got to be cute and covered all the way up. You got to find, that's why they have cute coats. And the ski master are cute with bedazzles and stuff on them because and the gloves and because Chicago don't play. But I could not live there. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve, the turning point of a new cycle, a new year, all occur in winter. In winter, it is more difficult to get around, and the limited amount of sunshine or warmth motivates me to stay close to home. I lost my daughter in the winter. She's talking about her daughter, Gemini. My husband filed for divorce during another winter. She should have left him. I know I met Iyanla when she was first starting out. She had her book, Tapping the Power Within, and I went to her first retreat ever. And there was a connection with us at that retreat. We both had on the same color nail polish at that retreat. 4 years later, I went to a retreat of hers in New York. We had on the same nail color, different, not the same one we had on the last time. We just seemed to connect with the color we want to have our nails. And that I now know part of that is we're both dark-skinned women, and at the time we were wearing the colors that people say look good on dark-skinned women. It just happened to be the exact same color. But I did get to meet her daughter, Gemini, who was amazing. And I'm a Gemini. Okay. Although it was in July when I actually did it, filing for bankruptcy and turning the keys of my home back over to the bank signified to me that I was in the winter season. Remember we just talked about winter can come in July? Your winter season can be in July. I had to realize that my life was precious, that what was precious to my life was ending. What was that? What I had to realize that was according to the law of the natural flow of life, something was being born in the cold darkness of the winter that I would not see until the spring. The challenge, I simply did not know when my next spring would begin. This is when I had to learn to trust God, because I couldn't see the good that was forming below the surface of my life. When you don't know, cannot see, and have no knowledge of the law, it is like hanging off the side of a cliff. You are desperate. You are probably scared out of your wits. You know you need help, but you also want the kind of help you think you need. Your basic instincts will be simply to survive. However, the law doesn't work like that at all. The law of life is expansive, evolutionary, creative, and all-encompassing. The law is concerned with the past, present, and future, taking into consideration all of the circumstances, resources, options, and opportunities that will create a new life and a new way of being. So while you are hanging off the cliff, wanting desperately to survive, the law knows that it may be a time for you to fall, because the drop is only 3 feet, and you must learn to live beyond the fear of falling. I'm learning to live my life in the way where I say I have to trust God. And if in trusting God I die, well, I'm dead. And I'll just go back to the father, the mother, and get my little record. Of course, my children would miss me greatly, but God got them. But I have to take chances, not foolish chances, but chances. I have to know that trusting God in the winter time is just as important as trusting God when I got the summertime. So I'm going to stop right there. This is good. Oh, I will say this. While you want to be saved from the fall off the cliff, the law wants you to realize how long you can hang on, building your muscle in the process. You see, that law is about growth and evolution. It is concerned with your learning how to move beyond your fears and your limitations. God is the law working within and throughout all of the situations and circumstances in which you find yourself preparing to get yourself off the side of the cliff. God teaches you how to look and work beneath the surface in order to germinate the seeds in your heart and mind that will yield a good crop or a bountiful garden when spring comes around. Spring for everybody is different, and God for everybody is different. So when she uses God in this book, I think you have to decide on the God of your understanding and apply it. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Anyway, this is Trust by Iyanla Vazant. I am Tracy Lene. Like, share, subscribe. I will see you next Wednesday. But I'm like adding stuff to my YouTube channel too. But book reading Wednesdays. Bye, guys.